All right, you should be good to go, Stacy.
Okay, thanks, Diane. Have fun at your meeting. Okay, welcome to the Revere School Committee of the Whole meeting. It's Thursday, June 30th, 2022, 11:01. And we are doing this meeting via Zoom. So I would ask for a roll call.
Mrs. Bronson Rizzo,
Here,
Mr. Ferranti,
Here.
Mrs. Gravellisi,
Here.
Mr. Kingston,
Here.
Mrs. Milbury Ellis,
Here.
Ms. Ty, Mayor Arrigo.
okay, and I also want to welcome Mona Ford Walker. We met her the other night and she is sitting in for Diane. And also thank you, Richie, for hosting along with Robin. So this is basically just a planning. I had said earlier that we need to be thoughtful, fair, and have a useful evaluation. And also with 2 years of COVID, this is the first time we're doing a 2-year cycle in Diane's evaluation, along with having 2 newer members with us. I just figured it'd be good to do planning and have everyone's input going forward. So a few days ago, I sent out a lot of files. Some might have read some might have picked through them, some might have been very diligent. And I just wanted to go through them and see if anyone had any questions, whether it was veterans or newer members, because we always have questions. So I will start off with, anyone have questions in the documents I sent you? Come on, it's not going to be this easy, is it? I'm going to make it to the beach in 15 minutes. Okay, Ms. Gravellisi.
Thank you, Mrs. Rizzo. I know I had asked you this question, but I asked it so everyone has the information. You had sent out the indicators and standards. I'm not sure. I looked through it briefly and compared it to the one that I had in print from 2 years ago. I didn't see any differences. I just wanted to see if maybe there were some differences that I didn't notice. Are all the standards and indicators that we use for the evaluation the same?
And I did look at it after you brought that to my attention, Susan, and I didn't see any differences.
Thank you.
Unless it was English language, the questions were, and the rubric was the same.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Miss Milbury Ellis.
Sure. My question is, I recall at the training for school committee members that we went to, where they discussed that basically this process is that we ask Dr. Kelly for whatever information or data that we want for her to obtain for us to evaluate. And so my question is, how do we go about, I understand this, the goals and this, and we kind of go through these forms and see where we feel she falls within these guidelines that we've been provided. But how do we find out what the feel is as far as, I don't want to say, I don't want to say professionalism, but I want to say on the, like the morale or the relationships in general, like between the superintendent and the rest of her colleagues. How do we obtain that information? I think that's important to have an understanding as far as how her colleagues feel about her, or whether they can provide any input as to areas that we don't see that can be improved upon. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I do have to apologize. I think I froze and everyone else was fine. So I missed like 90% of what you were saying.
Sure.
So I think one of the things I did forget to bring up is her self-evaluation. She has in the past done a self-evaluation, and we can ask her for that again. And I will say, Diane's always been very honest in how she perceives herself. So it's not like she doesn't tap herself on the back, but again, it's another useful tool that we can utilize. I did put down number 4, focus group discussion. So maybe when we get to number 4, we can kind of discuss and what you were just talking about is getting more information from colleagues and whatnot.
Mhm. And I'm not saying that that's I just think it helps to paint a whole picture, you know, and it's not about trying to extract, you know, individuals who may be adverse to her style or anything like that. It's more about just getting a real understanding of how these people relate to her, you know, how they feel the dynamics are, and whether that's something we can prove upon or whether there's no issue at all and everyone's content. I think it's important.
And I know everyone worries about people's opinions,
Mhm.
but opinions do matter. In fact, when we do the evaluation, our opinion, even though we try to stay professional, sometimes our opinions can get in the way also. But I do look at, when I go onto the DESE site and they do a staff feedback survey for principals, administrators, again, that could be people that might like the principal, people that might not like the principal. That's just human beings.
Mhm.
But again, no, I think it's an important topic that we can speak on. I know there may be some that don't like it. There may be some that feel like it'd be advantageous. Yeah, that would be
Okay.
beneficial. I learned to say my words correctly. Any other questions? I also added the video from the DESE site when we did the learning workshop, and also the PDF file that went with it. So sometimes it's good to review. I know I need it a lot, and I've been doing this for 12 years. But I do learn something every time I watch it and I review it. Michael, I'm sorry, I saw your hand up.
Okay. Stacy, is this something new that you sent us with the DESE model staff feedback? I don't remember seeing it before. Are we
No.
going? No.
It's new. I only sent it out as if we were going to look at some type of focus group discussion, maybe some of those questions might be able to be useful, such as works with staff to create meaningful opportunities for families from all backgrounds. You know, just things that we might be able to tweak and use ourselves if that's the route we choose to go. Maybe on communication. We don't know how, I mean, we always know Diane is great communicating with us. And when I talk, you know what, maybe we'll just skip and go to number 4, seeing that we've talked about that the most. When I talk about focus groups, I'm not necessarily thinking all the employees that we have, 700. I'm thinking of people that do work with her on a regular basis, whether it be Carl Svensson in maintenance, her colleagues in the superintendent's office, principals that need her support. I'm talking about that type because those are the ones that know her day-to-day routine and her day-to-day job. So if anything, they're going to know her more than us. And me personally, I don't mind it because I find that valuable. Ms. Gravelisi.
Thank you, Mrs. Rizzo. If we do choose to go that route and have a focus group and choose specific questions out of that sample that you sent to us, personally, like I'd prefer it to not be anonymous because I feel that more honest answers come out when there is not anonymous surveys. I feel it's the opposite with an anonymous. People would write, certain things that they wouldn't say. So I'd rather have people, have a conversation with us, and that gives us more information on where there may be places that need more communication or so on and so forth. So it's just my input on that. If we do choose that route, I would prefer that, staff members put their name to the survey.
Miss Milbury Ellis.
Yeah, I would totally take an opposite opinion on that. I think that people are more free to speak how they feel if they don't have to worry that things they say, not for any other lack of words, but to say can be used or held against them at some future date. I just feel like people will be more forthcoming. There's no reason, we don't need to know who these people are that are saying what they're saying. We just want to take what they have to say and give it some consideration. It's not the end all be all what they say, but it's to give some consideration to it. And the only way we're going to get, I think, an unfiltered opinion is if somebody does not have to have any second thoughts about what they say.
Mr. Kingston?
I would agree. I understand Ms. Gravellisi's point about people sometimes will say something because they figure they can because they're anonymous. I also think that, coming out to say something that you may not want to say to your boss, can limit your freedom of speech, so to point. I sent everyone an email yesterday. I don't know if anyone had a chance to read it. My concern with the contract, and I'm not complaining about what the payout would be. I'm just asking a question. Potentially, if Dr. Kelly left us at the end of her contract, we could potentially owe her up to $200,000. And I don't know if that's in the budget presently or if they've put some money away each year for it. But my concern is 4 years from now or whenever that is, if we have to come up with $200,000 to do a payout, and what if it isn't in the budget? And we're going to be cutting staff in order to do that, contractually paid out? Because, it's not like it's $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. It could be potentially $200,000 based on the contract. So I just would like to, whether it's Mr. Ferranti or ask Mr. Cruz, I'd like to know if that money, or at least a part of that money, is put away. Now, I do know that teachers do sick day buyback, but not to the tune of that kind of money. So I think it should be included in the budget at some point. I have to do the credit unions merge with St. Jean's now, but when I had my credit union, we had a similar sick day buyback, and we were required by accounting rules to have some money put aside for that purpose when someone did leave, so it doesn't become a budget buster. Because $200,000 is $200,000.
And respectfully, I'm just going to say this is about her evaluation and not her contract.
Well, I think the part of, to me, it's I understand to a point, but it came up because of this question came up because of the contract.
But if you're talking monetary, maybe bring it up under the budget subcommittee.
Okay.
As far as that goes. Briefly, I'm just going to say, just like if we're given raises across the board to each union, so if it's 2, 2, and 2, then it's in the budget accordingly for the next few years.
I'm talking about the buyout of the sick time and vacation time and all that. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep. So I either we can meet.
And my other question.
Her contract, is there a contract?
Does she provide us just a summary at the end of the year? Like, okay, I've got this many vacation days and this many sick days accrued?
No.
No, we had discussed that once before with the other superintendent.
I think she should, because it's a lot, Michael, it's a liability to us. It's a liability to the city and something we're gonna have to pay out at some point. So just having a yearly, I'm not asking for a timesheet, just, hey, I'm carrying X amount of days and this is how many vacation days I still have. Because when I read the first contract, Dr. Kelly started the job with 48 vacation days in addition to her regular 5 weeks. That's a lot. So my concern was, and that's going to be paid out at regular wages. So that's 9 weeks pay. She makes a little over $4,000 a week. that's another 36,000 more, depending on how many, days it is. So I don't think giving, especially this time of year, at the end of the fiscal year, saying to the school committee, look, I have X amount of vacation days and I have X amount of sick days, in the bank, just so we can plan going forward, because, 200,000 might be a big number in a few years in the budget. That's all. And this is becoming to light because I'm looking at the contract. So that's why I thought it was germane to the conversation.
Duly noted and respected. Okay, focus groups. How about if we decide if this is something we want to entertain or not entertain now before we go forward? And anyone have any other questions about it?
Stacy,
Mr. Ferranti?
thank you, Mrs. Rizzo. Well, are we gonna allow all department heads, or are we just gonna really just pick so many? Because if you're picking all the department heads and you're gonna limit to 3 or 4 questions, you could be there a while. I'm with
my-
Miss Gravel. I just want to finish and then I
No.
just think that really, when you do an evaluation and you're honest about it and you put your name to it, I have more respect for that. It's just my opinion. Because just look what the internet does, what you can say and do there, and absolutely destroy people. And if we're holding somebody's valuation back because of that, then I think we have a problem. I think people should say it the way it is, and then let's go from there. Thank you.
Ms. Gravellisi?
Thank you, Mrs. Rizzo. Before I decide which way I would like to go with the focus group, I'd like to know to whom these questions are going to and what the questions are, before I'd make a decision. And again, bringing it back to the anonymity of like the person, it was brought up that, you don't want your boss to know what you think of them, but the answers do not go to the boss. They come to us, and we would keep that in confidentiality, because
Would we?
well, I would hope we would as
Well,
professionals.
I've said this for 12 years. I always wish it was kept within, but
So like I said, as far as the anonymity, I would like to see if we pick specific department heads, they can have a conversation with us about what they do or do not like. And you know what I mean? It does not go back to their superior, to their boss. It comes to us, and we are her boss. So that would, in my mind, if we were to disclose those names, that would be unprofessional on our part. And I feel that we're all very professional.
well, and you know what? Where you're talking about professionalism too, I would hope that anyone doing this, where we have educators and directors, are being professional about how they answer any type of focus group questions. So the professionalism goes on both sides.
Exactly.
But with that being said, my thoughts were, and that was under number 2, timeline. If we were to choose to do focus groups, if either we come back and have another meeting and discuss about what questions or who may have it, who may receive the questions, and how we will take them back, whether we use SurveyMonkey, whether we use Google. There's so many forms that we can use for this. So I would think if the choice is to go to focus groups, to do another meeting, it could be a subcommittee, or it could be, well, I shouldn't say subcommittee, ad hoc committee, brought back to the committee of the whole for an agreement or not. It could be just the whole committee of the whole that wants to do some homework on this and have a discussion on it. So that would be my thought, that the next, if we were to choose this, set another date, go through the list, try to think of what people, and bring that to the table and for discussion and move forward. Mr. Kingston.
When is this due, Stacy?
Hers, we would report it out at the September meeting.
Okay.
I would like to I would love to see it done for August meeting, but we would really need to get it done by September meeting.
Does DESI have a requirement? It must be prevented by, must be given to them or no? Okay,
No, so once we do finalize everything, the final copy, all the aggregated information would go to DESI.
my thought was maybe why I think the focus group is good. I'm wondering if we should, it's just hard over the summer. I wanted to get a hold of everyone and get them to answer. I know everybody has access to me, but some people, just don't want to participate over the summer if they're not working and whatnot. So I don't know. how
No,
many-
and I understand.
I'm concerned about the response rate, I guess. So I'm
Mhm.
wondering, I don't know how, I'm willing to try it, but I'm not sure how successful it'll be.
I don't think having a 8-page survey is going to serve any purpose for anyone. So I think if it is a simple, if we're limited to the amount of people we're sending it to, most of our department heads are regularly checking in on a regular basis during the summer. I mean, I would love to see them vacationing the whole time, but they do check their email. Some might find time to do it, some might not, but that would happen during the school year also. Some do it, some don't. But again, it's something we could talk about if we want to have another meeting. Ms. Milbury Ellis.
Yeah, no, I guess you kind of answered my question. If I think in my mind, I was kind of thinking of a survey as opposed to a focus group, just kind of like something on Survey Monkey where we give a rate, we have, a question and it's kind of like a range of feedback that they would select. And it would just go out to all the department heads. And then we get a screenshot of basically the overall
Right.
feelings in response to those 3 questions. And
Sharon, that's exactly what I was thinking of, but I use the word focus group because everyone gets so nervous using the word survey.
okay.
So I guess my choice of words were not proper because in my head, it's always been like a Survey Monkey.
Well, and that kind of goes to the anonymous nature of it. I guess it's just kind of to get a sense. Like I said, asking a handful of people, that's helpful too.
Mhm.
I'm just looking to get us an overall sense in response of whatever questions we decide or that are decided upon to ask, that we have an idea of the, it's going to result with a majority of something, or maybe not, but most likely we'll have a majority one way, or it's pretty even heeled, but we'll have an idea. And
Right.
that will just give us a sense. And okay, we know we have that information. We're doing our due diligence in that regard. So, I guess that's how I was picturing it play out, like a Survey Monkey, like the ones we get for the schools, going to all the department heads. Whoever fills it out, they fill it out. They help us. They give us some information. Not too long, limited to a few questions. And we get a sense of a sense of how people are feeling about things. It's not too intrusive on this summer. It's not too involved. It's not putting any one director or any handful of directors on the spot.
No, sounds fair. So with that, I am going to ask, maybe we just put our hands up if who is for some type of survey. And I'll ask you to put your hands up if you agree. And so that's 4, and disagree, abstain. Okay. Now, I would like to see the next few meetings on this, if we could do it in person rather than on Zoom. I just think sharing, whether it's paperwork, I don't know. I think you just get a better feel of what's going on in people's minds. So I would like to set up any other meetings in person, with that being said. Understandably, 1 or 2 people might not be able to make it, and if they prefer Zoom, that's fine too. But if we could do this in person, I really would appreciate it. So, does anyone know offhand when they might be able to meet and we can talk about the survey itself? Or
You
would you like
talking
me to,
about next week? You talking about next week?
sounds good to me. Would you rather have me send out another doodle and give some options?
Sure.
I'd rather have you, us just like put it in an email, because then we can kind of fill in where we see other people. I might look at it and say, oh, well, the majority thinks that Thursday at 2:00 looks good. And instead of me saying Thursday at 6:00, I might go, all right, let me rearrange my schedule, because I visually can see that the majority can do it versus a survey. I'm just gonna put what I feel and not know what works for others. So if I can visually see that the majority is in agreement for one day, I can say, all right, let me just switch things around for that day.
So can I ask, when you go on the doodle, I always thought you could see who,
I could,
I didn't see it.
yeah.
I
didn't
couldn't
notice
see.
it.
I thought my
couldn't see-
choices, that's all.
Yeah, me too. I put my choices in like blindly, not knowing what others were what their availability was. But like I said, if I visually saw it, I would say, all right, well, let me fix my schedule so that I can go along with the majority.
Check it again, because I do recall seeing there were already time slots already highlighted. So I assume that was what other people had, and I'll do the same. I'll check it too, but I thought that's what everybody else was electing.
yeah, and on the top of each day and time, it will tell you how many could attend those certain periods. So, I mean, I didn't have to look. I saw 4 here, 4 here. I know those were the 2 times that the most people could show up. But if it is easier, I'll be more than happy to do email with no problem. Am I frozen?
It shows, so what it shows is, it shows the number of participants that can do a particular allotted time.
Right, I'm seeing it now, but I mean, I am looking at it now. I see it. Like I
How
said,
about
if
if I just do email?
That's fine.
Whatever works, whatever's
Yeah.
easiest for everybody.
Besides, Carol has a new computer, so she can't figure out any of it. So God bless her. Okay, so I'm going to send out dates for that. A location. I know our final evaluations in a couple of years were done at the mayor's office. And I think that was to accommodate his schedule. I know I prefer to just do it in the school committee room. I just think, you know, whether people come or don't come with open meeting law, I just feel it's more comfortable with people, you know, do you want to walk into the mayor's office unannounced to say, hey, I'm here for the meeting, or?
I did it, I wasn't comfortable.
Pardon me?
I did it, I wasn't comfortable.
right, you
Oh.
participated.
I did, yeah, no, I did. And I
Okay.
thought it was an odd place, at least gone to the council chambers, I said that, but didn't happen, so whatever.
I mean, School Street or Broadway, it doesn't matter to me.
No, I just didn't think his office was very open meeting law-ish. I mean,
Well,
you
it
gotta
is-
get by your secretaries to get in there. and-
You can't record in there, you can't, you know, it's not live or anything. I just think if we have the Ferranti School Committee room, and it's a school
Good.
committee room, why not utilize it?
Do it.
Do it.
Anything's fine with me.
Do it.
Michael, you're only saying it because of the name.
Yeah, right.
Aisha, do you have an opinion?
I'm fine. I think the Ferranti room is the most obvious choice, given these meetings are public, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So then we wouldn't want to limit any type of availability. I think that people are more inclined to probably, and it's bigger anyway, it's a bigger room, not that we're expecting a crowd by any means, but it's just a little bit more comfortable of a space, I think, for a public meeting.
Okay. So we're going to look to finalize the evaluation by the end of August and report out in September. And I am going to send an email out to everyone with some dates and times. Right here, I'm going to ask by a show of hands, is during the day or preferably after 5 better for anyone? How about during the day?
During
Anyone?
the
the
day,
day
good
is-
for me. It's
During
better
the
for
day
me.
is good for me.
Okay,
During-
I'll accommodate my schedule.
I'd say during the day and before 5, only because my kids have sports and they all start right after then. So
mhm.
4 to 5. I mean, I know John, it's tough for him because he doesn't have that much flexibility, but during the day and before 5 o'clock would be ideal.
John, if we were to do it during the day with enough notice, do you think you could get your lunch hour in?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, and it's fine. If I can't, I can't. I'll do the best I can. I understand, it's majority. I
But
get it.
also there's Zoom, for those that
Yeah, it's
might,
just, it's more.
you
it's
never
more of
know
a
what's
time-
gonna come
It's not a
up.
question. It doesn't, Zoom is fine, but it saves me the time of driving wherever the meeting is, but it doesn't help per se in the sense, either I'm working or not, so whatever.
We'll still allow that Zoom option as long as it's before July 15th. For those that, last minute things come up. So, Ms. Milbury Ellis?
And one more request, if possible, can we keep the Monday through Thursday?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Monday, Thursday.
Friday's family day. During the summer, I'm trying to get as much in. We do things on Fridays, museums and things like that,
Yeah,
Good.
Sounds like a plan.
I know. That's important.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I have grandmother day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and every other day when needed.
Right.
No,
I'm
we'll send
flexible.
out,
I can rearrange my schedule.
yeah. Okay, with that being said, does anyone have any questions, or is there something I forgot or something that you want to bring up regarding the evaluation?
No, but I guess so, just so I understand this process, because you folks have gone through this many times before. So at this point, we should be reviewing these standards, the goals and the guidelines.
Mhm.
And during one of or several meetings that we have, we'll be going through them and discussing them. Is that correct? Is that how it plays out, or?
Yes, we have met before, usually during the mid-cycle. Usually there is a mid-cycle. We haven't done it. But there are times, like if we're going over what other people may, and this is me personally, if Susan has marked her on proficient in a certain area, and I've been looking at needs improvement, her explanation might help me to say, it might be that little bit more information that will move my needle from needs improvement to proficient. So
Okay.
sometimes I think it's helpful to have those dialogues with each other.
And if we come across like something as we're going through that we don't have any data on, is that when we reach out to Dr. Kelly and ask her to provide us something to substantiate?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Ms.
I understand.
Gravellisi?
Thank you, Mrs. Rizzo. And just to, continue with that conversation, if like one of us says needs improvement or one of us says, exemplary, in either case, we need evidence to back up our rating. Not sure. I know I took Dr. Kelly's print copy at our last meeting. She had a 70-page document that was her evidence backing up her progress on her goals. She sent that to all of us via email. She had one copy in print that I took. If anyone wants a copy in print, if they can't find the email, I can always go to the school department and have Robin make copies of it and put it in your mailbox, because that's really helpful, because we can't always remember through the years.
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful to have that in hand, especially during our meetings rather than on email.
Yeah,
So
because a lot of times we've had to go back on school committees on the videos and try to figure out what piece of evidence might have pertained to a certain
goal.
Yeah,
Like a lot of the presentations that she has from the different schools with the kids, those are her evidence backing up some of her goals. But we might have to, rethink and go back and watch and say, which goal did that fall under? So that document that she provided at our school committee meeting, to me, was very helpful. I like everything in print. So I can do that. I can go in, I can ask Robin if she'll make copies and put them in everyone's school mailbox.
Susan, I don't need one. I already did it myself. So
Okay.
I don't need
I
one.
do. I
And she can,
have mine.
she can double side it. I'm,
I
I'm
did
fine
that.
with that.
I did that.
I do it as well.
Yeah,
just
there's
John
not
and-
many, not many
John and
things I do
Aisha?
print, but that I did along with the budget.
Yeah, I
So,
need to have something in my hands to see versus going on email.
okay. Anything else we would like to bring up? And John, I am not, pushing aside your contract questions. I just would rather have it be either budgetary or if we're reviewing her contract for something to be done then. And so I don't want you to think I'm just like ignoring your comment because you had very relevant questions. Mr.
you.
Ferranti.
Thank you, Mr. John, what I will do is I'll either talk or send an email to Matt following up on yours yesterday, and I will get an answer one way or the other for you, and we'll go from there.
I'm sure there's a line item for it, but I think it's more for the teachers. The teachers have a sick leave buyback, so I don't think it's to that,
No.
those kind of numbers.
Yeah, I would believe you're correct with that. I wouldn't think it's there. I mean, it's still 3 years away because their contract runs out in 2025. So, I mean, I will get the information that we need and I will forward it to everybody and we'll go from there. I would probably say it's not right now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, one last time. Anyone have any questions, concerns, comments? With that being said, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Happy 4th.
I'll make the
Thank
motion.
you.
Michael
Second.
and Susan. Thank you, everyone. And
Bye.
yes,
Happy
Thank
4th to
you.
everybody.